I have in the studio with me the founder and publisher of Ciao Magazine. I looked at her for confirmation of that. Laurie Hughes. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here this morning. Thank you. It's the first time we've met. I know you've been in the studio with Simon before.
Yes.
And we've been hearing your commercials running for the last week or so it's nice to have you here in person.
Yeah, I like the ad placement.
It was perfect, wasn't it? So before we start talking about the event itself and other things that are happening with the restaurant scene in Winnipeg, just give us a brief idea about Ciao Magazine, when it all started and why it all started.
21 years ago, we launched Ciao Magazine as a way to really celebrate and draw some fanfare to Winnipeg's restaurant scene and just the entertainment scene in Winnipeg in general. Mm-hmm. And the city just really embraced it. Our intention was to publish this little magazine once a year, and very quickly it became a quarterly, and now we're publishing 6 times a year. And its intent is, like many magazines that are city-oriented, it's a city magazine that reflects shopping, dining, entertainment, and lets people know what's hot right now.
Mm-hmm. So are you just a foodie? Or is your background in, I mean, sure, I love restaurants and I love eating out too, but I wouldn't have thought about necessarily starting up a magazine. What's your background that you got into this?
I love to eat. I suppose it's true that I would call myself a foodie, although I sort of cringe at that word at this point.
Yeah, I suppose it's overused.
I love the city, and that was why we founded the magazine. We publish Where Winnipeg magazine, and it's a magazine that is designed to enrich the experience of visitors who are coming to Winnipeg. It's distributed in hotel rooms. And the thought was, Winnipeggers could use some little nudging about what's so great in their city, but nobody wants to be lectured to. So the idea behind Ciao is to really celebrate a city through gorgeous photography, good writing, and prompt people to be motivated, to mobilize them to go try something new.
Exactly,
discover new places.
Well, I'm like that because, typically me and my wife will go out for dinner. We always go to our favorite spots. And then every once in a while, we're like, well, we got to try something new. And if we're trying to think about it, we could draw blanks. And so we like to have one of these magazines around.
This copy is going to be for you, Michael.
Thank you. Well, honestly, we draw blanks. It's like, I can't think of where to go. And then we pick up one of these magazines, and there's so many places, places you've heard about, places you haven't heard about. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you something. We draw blanks, and we do know the places, so we still have to open the magazine when we're deciding where to go, and that's what it's for. Absolutely. And people get into habits, and that's good. People go and anticipate their favorite places. They'll go to the same places. They'll order the same dishes. So
don't tell me. Don't say that out loud.
They'll order the exact same thing over and over. And the thing is, that's part of what we enjoy about dining out. We try something that, the best Brussels sprouts we've ever eaten in our lives, and we have to have them again. So, that's part of the joy of dining out, absolutely. But it's also really fun to push our boundaries and to try new things. And we have such a multicultural city. We know that about our city. And the restaurant scene reflects the community. And we have a vibrant restaurant scene as a result of that, and we've got it good. The restaurants in Winnipeg are so affordable comparatively to cities across Canada that really this event, Dine About Winnipeg, that we're talking about, that we're in the midst of right now, is really just an excuse to draw attention to the fact that menus in Winnipeg are moderately priced every day of the year.
And also everything's close too, right? It's not like you're living in Toronto or somewhere like that. If there's a restaurant you really love, it happens just to be an hour and a half drive across the city. Everything's within 20 minutes.
Absolutely. Even on the streets where there's construction, and all of that factored in, we can still cross our city in short periods of time.
So this Ciao's Dine About Winnipeg, how many years now has it been going on?
This is our 15th year.
15th year. That's amazing. And some of the restaurants, I know Fusion Grill's been around since day one, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. And Bailey's restaurant has been doing it consistently as well. We have had Nicolino's, another one to call out that has been doing it for that period of time. We have also restaurants that are jumping on board every year.
What are the new ones this year?
Capital Grill is one of the restaurants. Close Co., which is a cute little restaurant.
I haven't been in that one
Grosvenor
yet.
and Stafford.
Yeah.
Oh, just stellar, great chef. Dustin there. Cafe Dario has been around for a number of years. He always puts so many options that are available to diners when they go to that restaurant, as well as many of the others. Another one that's new, Promenade Cafe Wine, is a brand new one. Helios, just down the street from you here at the studio.
Yeah, Chris went there. Our music director went there, and he checked it out, Helios.
It's an awesome substitute for heading out to the Mediterranean on this February week.
Kind of. Let me just say kind of. Yeah. So also concurrent with this event, you've got other things going on through. There's something called the Culinary event series as well, right?
Yes, this is brand new this year. The Culinary event series, it sort of is an extra special way to experience these restaurants. We have a handful of restaurants that are offering something, and that starts this evening at Cafe Carlo. They are joining forces with a local brewery, Stone Angel, that has just launched, and the brewmaster is going to be on site explaining the flavor profiles of paired beers with the multi-course dinner. So that's going to be sensational, and the details of those culinary events are on our ChowWinnipeg.com website. Tomorrow, Nicolino's has got jazz in the evening, and they've paired that with a tapas menu that you can order 3 tapas items from this extensive tapas menu for $19. So it's a very aggressive price point, just as a way for people to embrace. And music, too. I love that, right? On Thursday, Bailey's is doing a whiskey dinner, and also going through the pairing of whiskey flavor profiles. He promises that the pours won't be too large, that you will still be able to come back to work on Friday.
I was reading they have a collection of more than 100 bottles at Bailey's, more than 100 bottles of whiskey.
It's a stellar collection.
Yeah, don't try them all in one night.
No. They won't all be served that night. But he's serving with it some of the signature classics that Bailey's fans will really appreciate. Their lamb chops are second to none in the city. So that's another really special event. Many of these events are the kinds of things that the restaurants are doing for corporate parties that commission them specifically for a group of 50 or 60 or what have you. So this is a rare opportunity to get in on something like this, and you don't need to put together a corporate group for it. And then on Sunday, the last one of the culinary event series is at the new locations of Hermanos on South Osborne, and it's a wine pairing dinner. Classic
South American wine.
South American wines paired with South American dishes.
Very nice. I'm in the studio with Laurie Hughes. She's the publisher and founder of Ciao Magazine. We're talking about the magazine itself. We're talking about this culinary event series, and of course, Chow's Dine About Winnipeg, which is going on now until February 11th. You have to reserve a table, of course. You can't, it's just so you don't show up and are disappointed. You can reserve a table. So what about you? When you're involved in a magazine like this, how hard is it for you to choose a place to go
well,
eat?
I go to the mall.
You go to the mall. Right. Do you eat at home?
Like I said,
do you ever eat at home anymore? You don't need to cook anymore.
I have a very robust basket of fruit at home.
And a bowl of cereal maybe in the morning.
That's right.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to add about this series that this Dine About Winnipeg series before we wrap up?
No, I think that this is a great opportunity to let your listeners know about this special addition to Dine About Winnipeg this year. And the restaurants are doing really great things. The menus are spectacular, and the portions are also out of this world. And that's one of the things I think that is really reflective of the Winnipeg restaurant scene that is that makes it incomparable to any place else in Canada. So I just really encourage people to use this as an excuse to get out, start the car, and make it a great week of dining.
And then just leave the dishes. Don't worry about them at all.
Don't worry about the dishes.
Yeah, they take care of that for you. They'll serve you great food. And, all the places that I've been, it's always friendly, too. The servers are great, and the owners are great. And, there's a real local almost like even though they're really big, successful restaurants, some of them, it's just you can walk in and still feel like you're walking into your own, own living room. It's so comfortable.
Well, these independent restaurants that we're featuring in this event are ones that their whole life is thrown into these restaurants. They're working very hard to give their customers a tremendous experience. So, they are engaged in the whole process, and of course, as a result, the diners are getting the best of the hospitality industry.
Yeah, I mean, often the owners come out and greet you.
Exactly, that's the case.
You don't get that into those, in those big chain restaurants necessarily, right? Where the owners are there, they're doing the dishes, they're helping in the kitchen, they're out on the floor, they're doing all that kind of stuff.
They can answer questions. They can explain how to pronounce the food that you don't know how to pronounce, and can give you some of the background and the history of it as well. So I think that all around it's a worthwhile experience to get out and enjoy.
CiaoWinnipeg.com is how you can get online and find out all the information about the events we've been talking about. And they will link you over as well to the restaurant so you can see the menus that are available. So, pleasure to meet you, Laurie.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work.
Why, thank you.
Keep filling my stomach with good food.
Keep eating.
I will. Everybody keep eating. Did you hear that? Yeah, don't stop eating. Never stop eating. All right, you've been listening to a conversation with Laurie Hughes. She's the publisher and founder of the Ciao Magazine. Again, Ciao Magazine, CiaoWinnipeg.com. We were talking about Ciao's Dine About Winnipeg.